The topic that I'm going to talk about today. Okay, some of you may be wondering, why do I not say the topic that I write on the thumbnail or on the first introduction slide? Why do I not say or use that word in my talk? The reason for that is I want you to experience spirituality. This is how intuition is. It will not tell you the name, it will not tell you very loudly what it is talking about, but it is talking everything around it and everything about it. You should try to listen to my audio and then try to understand what possibly am I talking about. And that is how you try to also gauge your intuition. What is it that intuition or intuitively I'm getting told so many things? What does it want me to understand? Intuition is very powerful. Only if you work on it, it will start to give you answers. That is the reason why I don't use the title which I write on the first slide, and I just want to talk about that title so that you're able to guess the title if you were to only listen to the audio. And this is a way to understand and work with intuition. So, today, the topic that I'm going to talk about, I will talk about in few sections. The section 1 is where I'm talking about my childhood. While growing up, if you want to know what is my ethnicity growing up, I have given it in the description box. So, however, I'm a Hindu now because of a certain very big divine experience, but it doesn't take away the fact that I have had spiritual experiences in Islam, in Hinduism, in Sikh religion, Christianity, Buddhist religion. It doesn't take away that. So when I say I am a Hindu now, it just means this is possibly how my funeral would be as per Hindu rites. So there's nothing else that has changed, but my way of living and perspective outlook does not change. It's just a spiritual experience which was so powerful that I am now a Hindu. Anyhow, so I'm talking about the topic today where I first talked to you about my childhood. So, while growing up, we would visit the worship place very regularly. And in this Sikh worship place, it was a Sunday thing to do as a family. We would listen to prayer, and there is this sermons getting spoken or said, and it was a very beautiful experience where you're going and you're getting a certain soothing vibe or energy while you're also trying to understand divine and divinity. Growing up, at some point, I remember maybe I was in my teenage years. I heard my parents talk, and they were just talking, and the conversation was not very comfortable. And my mom was saying, I will not agree, I will not agree, I don't want to, go this route. And my dad was saying something to the effect that, but if the priest is saying it, we can't say no, we have to agree, you know. And then I get to know that a certain priest visited a worship place, the Sikh worship place, and he was telling everybody that they should become more religiously oriented and they should wear the five symbols that are there as part of a Sikh spiritual journey where people start to wear a more religiously oriented attire, and have a more religiously oriented lifestyle. This is also the lifestyle where women start wearing turbans. And they completely start wearing their clothes all the way till here, completely covered up. So you can't wear half sleeves, you can't put makeup on when you get into this religious tire or a more religiously oriented life. So this priest had started talking all this when he visited one of this one of the Sikh worship places. And 4 5 of my dad's friends and their wives also did not want to adapt to this religious lifestyle, but the priest wouldn't agree. He had told everybody who was visiting the Sikh worship place, which is the Gurdwara Sahib, that everybody has to agree and wear this religiously oriented attire and become more religiously oriented lifestyle. You know, this is in today's world, it is called religious extremism, where you're forcing people to become more religiously oriented and accept a certain way of life which they don't want to. They're happy going to a Gurdwara Sahib and a worship place, have their share of spirituality, and that's about it. But this priest was taking people to the another level or more focused or religiously oriented life. And all he kept saying was, because of the respect he got, he kept saying, everybody has to accept this lifestyle, everybody has to be getting into this lifestyle, nobody can say no. And there was a very big dilemma and conflict about it in my house with my dad and mom. And my mom was very, very clear. She did not want this lifestyle. She did not want to get extra religiously oriented lifestyle. She was happy the way she was. She did not want to cover her head all the time. She did not want to be fully clothed. And she did not want to be forced to pray so much. She was happy with whatever she was doing. But this priest wouldn't agree. And my dad agreed that he's okay to adapt this lifestyle, but my mom wouldn't want it. And my dad and mom had a conflict where my mom said, "You can go ahead alone and accept this more religiously oriented lifestyle. I don't want it." And at this point, I remember my dad saying that the priest is saying a married man alone cannot adopt this lifestyle and wife should definitely adapt it as well. And my mom said, "There's no way I'm going to do it." And all other, people known to my dad who also used to visit the worship place did not seem to have this conflict because their wives also agreed and they were okay to adapt this religiously oriented lifestyle. And my dad wanted an escape because it wasn't going to happen. My mom was not willing. And luckily, my dad was able to move out at that time, for whatever work or something, move out for a few months. So my dad was gone, and therefore, my mom and dad escaped the fate of becoming pushed into a religiously oriented lifestyle by this priest. And while others, adapted and then they started to wear and get into that religious attire and more religiously bent lifestyle. And while my dad had left and was gone for a few months, my dad had an accident and he fractured his hand. And almost everybody started saying that because they did not take the religious vows to make their life more religiously bent or oriented towards a certain attire and way of life, he got punishment from God and he broke his hand. Today what Canada is experiencing is the same religious push that my parents and my dad's friends or colleagues experienced when I was a teenager. Literally, people are being forced into a certain religious lifestyle, oriented lifestyle. And the priest was so wrong in saying that forcibly make people take vows and accept this lifestyle. And when someone told him that we cannot force people, he said, spiritually, it doesn't matter how you cross over till the time you cross over. One, people are talking about something that cannot be verified. It cannot be verified wherever you are spiritually crossing over, are you truly crossing over or not? But he says it so well and so many times. He plays with the faith. Very learned people are not able to avoid this push and were forced to adapt or take up this lifestyle. You should look at what is happening in Canada. I feel it is the administrator who's let down a lot of people from my ethnicity, and not just Canada, everywhere where they're practicing so much religiously bent lifestyle, is by not understanding the people. One, you're immigrating people with no lifestyle, people who don't step out of their homes, people who don't go running, who don't go jogging, they don't go swimming, they don't go mountain climbing, they don't go partying, they don't go so many things, and especially women are homebound. When you keep immigrating people like this and don't teach them a lifestyle, they will overdo what they know, and all they know is just keep praying. And now they've become so religiously bent over, they're overdoing that bit so much that now they want a new state with religious dictum. I can tell you half of them don't even have their brains in the right place. They will not go jogging, they will not go partying anywhere because nobody told them or taught them or improved them or changed them. So you're bringing people from third world country with a next to none mindset or with barely any education, and there you are giving them riches, you're giving them all the money and riches, and this is what they start doing. They're creating a very big push for a certain religiously oriented lifestyle, and they are saying we want to govern with that lifestyle. Nobody wants that lifestyle. Who wants to keep praying 24/7? Who gave voice to these people? It's countries like Canada who are not controlling this kind of extremism which is coming from there. Now I will talk about the role of a priest. Half of the people who are priests are the ones who just went to a regular school or college, never found a job, and then, or maybe did some job, and then started to just pray. And then, if you keep praying, keep praying, keep praying, you're requested to come and preside over some function or do some prayers here, do prayer there. And then they start talking something from their imagination and their mind without having lived any life. And they start using force and push to people to adopt a certain lifestyle. One, nobody in this world should be allowed to be a priest on its own. The power and position of priest should be reserved for the well educated, the most well traveled, and a sane mind. It's not okay to be priest and talking something where you're pushing people to a certain lifestyle, that wear a turban, come get fully dressed up, head to toe, and just keep praying 24/7 all the time. Who wants this life? Why are you forcing this lifestyle on people? Canada bothers me. It has suddenly, there are schools which have mushroomed, which are just talking about this lifestyle and are sending students or making students adapt this lifestyle. What is the point of living in a country with the nicest of mountains, the most beautiful of oceans, if you're not going to swim in them, if you're not going to trek and climb those mountains? What is the point of not going running and jogging? This is not just problem with people from my ethnicity. This is a problem all across, where people who don't know much or haven't lived much life, when they start getting respect as a priest for praying, they start talking something out of their head, which may not make any sense. I was once coming back home, and then I couldn't find a bus, and I just waved down, someone just who was on her bike, and luckily it was a lady. She stopped, and then she gave me a ride, and she turned out to be a Sikh woman, and she was wearing this attire of when you're, or you've taken your religious vows, and she was wearing this religious attire. And when I started talking to her, there was this person called Amrit Pal Singh, who was a certain mainstay who had become suddenly very big in Punjab, and he was starting to tell people to adopt a certain lifestyle, become like this. I want people, everybody to be more religiously oriented. He just started to destroy the environment in Punjab by talking all this religious extremism. And I told that woman, I said, you have to be very careful about these religious leaders. They can start forcing people to adapt a certain lifestyle, and they get very, very violent. And she said, nobody can ever force, nobody will ever force. This is what they are hoping, that nobody will force a certain lifestyle on you. But the more money and freedom you give to people and don't teach them a lifestyle, eventually this is what they will start doing. Canada, along with world over, every government should make a rule to stop this religious extremism, that everybody should go running for 2 or 3 hours a day. Everybody should have a job to go to for 4 hours. You cannot pray more than so many hours. You cannot be a priest by itself or a monk by itself. You should have a job to go to. You should see in India, if you go to a mountain place called Himachal, they're just digging up mountains. They're removing the very good mountains and they're building monasteries there. And these monasteries are huge. Why can't a monk be working somewhere and staying somewhere on rent? Why are you destroying and creating so many monasteries? The one of the ways to control religious extremism is not allow worship places to be built. Don't allow. Then you can control the religious extremism. There's recently a worship place which has come up for 96 million overseas. It's a Hindu temple which has been built for 96 million. Divine is not so tough to find. An administrator has failed when people start becoming religiously, start practicing a certain heavily devout religious lifestyle. It's my disappointment when this kind of lifestyle is being imposed on people and they want to govern Punjab with this kind of religious dictum. Canada has failed to control religious extremism, and a lot is coming from there.